Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a closer look at something called the Lyot Show.
Right. It's this online publication, reader-supported, that we've been looking into.
Exactly. We've got, well, a bunch of material here, bits from the About page, the archives, posts about public housing in Israel, the U.S., quite a mix.
Yeah, a real range.
So the plan for this deep dive is basically to figure out, what is the Lyot Show? What makes it tick? What's unique?
And maybe why someone listening might want to check it out themselves.
Okay, so let's start there. What is it? The About page calls it a reader-supported publication and, interestingly, a story unfolding across timelines.
Unfolding across timelines.
That sounds intriguing, not like your standard blog.
Not at all. The creator, Liat Portal, and it's pronounced Leet, by the way, she seems to have this very distinct way of doing things.
How so?
She talks about pulling together history, music, science, business, art, food, personal stories, like everything.
Wow, that's ambitious. And she says she does it, quote, faster than most people can grab a snack, and I make them delicious.
Huh. Okay, so she's got personality. You get a sense of energy there.
Definitely. And her background seems key. She mentions being the daughter of a greatest storyteller who was also an architect.
Ah, okay, so that probably influences her.
Yeah, she feels she inherited this ability to connect things that don't obviously seem connected. She even calls herself an architect.
An architect.
Yeah, but not of buildings or software, she says. It suggests she's building something else with her content.
Like narratives, maybe?
Yeah.
Or experiences?
Could be. And it's not just about her broadcasting stuff out. She makes a point of saying, you are not only the audience, you are an essential part of the story.
Oh, I like that interactive element. People feel more connected then.
Right. It feels more involved.
What about the practical side? Like, when does stuff get published?
Seems to be weekends and evenings, mostly. And sometimes it's like a whole set of episodes on one theme.
But also standalone posts, too. Yeah, seems like a mix. It's mainly through a newsletter, right, on Substack.
Correct.
Yeah.
And she mentions the whole archive kind of flows together so you can dip in and out.
Okay, so that brings us to Substack itself. Maybe we should quickly explain what that is for folks who aren't familiar.
Good idea. So Substack, it's basically a platform designed for writers, creators, podcasters, people like Late.
Right. Allows them to publish newsletters, directly reach their audience, and, importantly, get paid directly by that audience if they choose.
Yeah, Layet calls it the home for great culture. So for listeners, if you subscribe to The Lyot Show, the full title is quite long, The Lyot Show, My Journey to Infinity, a Story Unfolding Across Timelines.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, you get the new post sent straight to your email.
And since it's reader-supported, subscribing is how you, well, help her keep doing it. There are free and paid options, right?
Exactly, and she's pretty direct about it. She says, fasten your seatbelts and subscribe to help unlock my potential to write the next great chapter.
So your subscription really matters. It's not just like buying a magazine. It feels more like investing in the creator.
Totally. Now, something that really jumped out from the material, especially some of the posts, is this ongoing conversation she has with her father, Nissim.
Ah, yes, the dialogues about public housing and early Israel, that felt really unique.
It is, isn't it? It's like you're invited into their personal conversations. You get history, but through this very human, intergenerational lens.
It's not just dry facts. It's her asking questions, him sharing his experiences, his architectural knowledge. It blends the personal and the historical really well.
You see it clearly when they talk about the early housing in Israel. Nissim asks these really direct questions, like at one point she just asks, was I supposed to know that?
Huh. That's relatable.
Right. And Nissim provides the context, the history, from his perspective as an architect.
And that whole approach, framing complex stuff through conversation, makes it much easier to grasp, I think, more engaging.
Definitely. Liat even talks about wanting an education system based on the entertainment industry.
Right, and these chats with Nissim are almost like classes in that imagined school. It's a cool concept.
It really is. And through these chats, you also pick up on some interesting generational differences, don't you?
Oh, for sure. What stood out to you?
Well, there's Layet's ambition for him, wanting to make him a global star through her platform.
Yeah, and his reaction seems a bit more cautious, maybe skeptical about who'd be interested.
Exactly. That contrast in thinking about audience and, like, digital reach is quite telling.
And the technology gap, too.
Oh yeah, Nissim joking about how he barely manages with Facebook and Instagram.
While Liat calls herself tech support since 1998, basically, it's funny but highlights that difference.
It does. She seems very much the digital native, entrepreneurial, always looking forward.
And he brings this incredible historical depth and maybe a more grounded perspective, but his analysis is sharp.
Absolutely. It's that combination that makes their talk so compelling to read.
So, okay, we get what the show is, the style, the father-daughter dynamic. Let's circle back to the support aspect. Why become a founding or annual member?
Well, it boils down to that reader-supported model again, doesn't it?
Pretty much. Paying means you're directly funding the work. There was that note saying the project must come to life. It really frames support as, well, essential.
Vital, yeah. And her asking subscribers to unlock my potential. It's like you're actively enabling her to create more.
Right. It's not just buying access, it's becoming part of the journey.
Right.
And choosing a founding or annual membership is positioned as like a bigger commitment to that extraordinary story she's telling.
A deeper investment in her vision.
Exactly. So that brings us to, helping her get those subscribers, those tickets to her show, as the outline put it.
Yeah, how can listeners listening now actually help her build this thing? The sources give some pretty strong arguments for why someone should subscribe.
They really do, calling her an extraordinary talent, saying the stories are fascinating, educational, and incredibly engaging. High praise.
And that bold idea again. The Liat Show needs to be the compulsory education school of the future.
That's quite a statement. It also points out, realistically, that independent creators often lack big marketing budgets.
So the audience stepping up, subscribing, that is the support system. It's about recognizing talent and helping it grow.
It really sells it as something unique, groundbreaking, blending all those diverse topics: history, music, science, personal stories.
A project worth backing, basically.
So if someone's listening and thinking, oh, okay, I'm curious, I want to support this, what are the specifics? How do they subscribe?
Easiest way is Substack. Find The Liat Show. My Journey to Infinity, a story unfolding across timelines.
Okay. And there are options.
Yeah, free and paid. If you want to go paid, it's $8 a month or $88 for the year.
And she connects the annual option to her birthday.
She does. May 8th. Kind of a nice way to frame supporting her work. But starting free is always an option to just check it out first.
Makes sense. And it seems people are checking it out from all over.
Oh yeah, the thank you note mentioned subscribers from 87 countries.
87?
For
Wow.
34 U.S. states.
That's impressive reach. It clearly resonates widely. California, New York, UK, Israel, Canada. The list goes on.
It shows the appeal isn't just local, it's global.
Definitely. Okay, shifting gears a bit, but still connected to those conversations with Nissim, this
Well-
whole theme of urban planning. Why is that so important in their discussions?
It comes up a lot when they talk about Israel's early housing challenges and
Yeah.
compare things to, say, U.S. suburbs. They argue there's a real lack of public understanding about good urban planning.
And how it affects everyday life, right? Not just some abstract concept.
Exactly. They talk about Israeli planning maps, like what brown areas mean public buildings, and how if people knew more, they could push for better spaces, more accountability.
It's like civic knowledge, but specifically about the built environment.
Totally. And they both seem to think this stuff, laws, sociology, history, culture, health, how it all relates to planning, should be taught in schools. Compulsory education.
That's a big idea. Making urban planning literacy a basic skill.
And they link it to today's problems, like the housing crisis, saying people need to grasp why some communities work and others don't, beyond just, the bricks and mortar.
Understanding the system, not just the symptoms.
Right. Liat even has this vision of teaching practical job skills online related to construction and urban renewal through her platform, empowering people that way too.
So it's about knowledge leading to better advocacy, better community involvement, maybe even better careers.
That seems to be the core idea. A more informed public can demand and help shape better places to live.
Yeah, when you understand the basics, you can actually participate in the conversation about your own neighborhood, your city.
Hold officials accountable. Ask the right questions.
Exactly.
Well, this has been really interesting digging into the Leah Show. It's definitely not your average newsletter.
Not at all. A very unique mix of personal, historical, educational, all wrapped in this engaging conversational style with her father.
We definitely encourage listeners to check it out for themselves. Again, it's on Substack, The Liat Show, My Journey to Infinity, a story unfolding across timelines.
Yeah, have a read, see what you think, see if that style connects with you.
And maybe it'll get you thinking about urban planning in your own area, too. How much do you know about how your community is shaped?
Which brings us to a final thought, kind of riffing on Lyatt's idea. This isn't school. This is how we build the future.
Right.
Maybe the best learning, the kind that really helps us build things, happens outside of formal classrooms. So, what future could you help build? Maybe just by starting with a subscription.
Food for thought. And you can also find The Lay It Show on other platforms too, right?
Yep. Looks like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and even Patreon. So, lots of ways to follow and engage.
Great. And one last thing, for anyone interested in how podcasts like this get put together, maybe using AI tools to help sort through material, try searching Notebook LM Lyatt Portal Podcast on Google.
Or Notebook LM, The Lyatt Show. Might give you some ideas.
Okay, that wraps up our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us.